So, how many of you are surprised to see Norfolk County Council and AI on the screen? Yeah, a few of you out there, yeah. Not least my colleague from Norfolk County Council. So, and why is that? Well, we know that county councils are not renowned for being at the cutting edge of innovation. We know that county councils can be thought of as probably a little bit risk averse. That can be part of what people know and believe about us. So what am I doing here? Why am I here to talk to you about Norfolk County Council and AI? Because actually we are doing some work in this space. And I'm really keen to give you some examples of how some of us who have come into the council, some of us who are already in the council, who have skills from other sectors and who are really looking at how this technology can really help us deliver better services for the people of Norfolk, i.e. us. So that's what I'm here to talk about. So AI, we've heard a little bit about this already. Is it our greatest tool or our greatest threat? Many people still have that fear of the machines taking over, while others think it's going to solve all of our problems. We know the truth is going to be somewhere in between. And do you know what's key in that picture? Is the bit that remains is the human beings. It is a tool for us as human beings that we have created for ourselves. And it's about how we use it and what use we put it to and how we set it up that makes the difference about what AI will be for us. So what have we been doing in the County Council? Well, one of our early pieces of work, we were invited to be part of Microsoft's early access program for Microsoft Copilot. So we got 300 licenses and we started looking at what were the potential use cases for a council. What could we do with this technology? How could it help us? But we are a little bit risk averse because quite rightly so. We are an organisation, a local government organisation. We have a responsibility to the people of Norfolk to act well, to protect their data and to make sure that we are always ethical in our practice. So we set ourselves up an AI governance board to just make sure we were overseeing this well, using the data well, making sure we had the right security in place. Yes, people are concerned about data security. They are concerned about what we do with this type of technology. And one of the early things that we found is actually, and this is a phrase from my good colleague who's here today, who you'll hear from later on the panel, came up with, which is it's co-pilot, not autopilot. We found that you can't actually just allow it to take over what you do. It is there to help you. It is a tool. It does nothing if you don't direct it well. We've heard about how we set in place the right prompts. So we came up with some use cases. I'm going to give you an example of one shortly. And now we're in that phase 2 where we're saying, right, now we can start to roll it out. We've tested it. We've made sure it's safe. We've made sure it's useful. We know how to train people and support people to use the technology well. So now we're going to set off on that journey to exploit it further. And that's where we're talking about it in a couple of different ways. And this is because we all know there are different types of AI. So we've got the personal productivity. How can it help me in my everyday job? How might it help you in your everyday job? And then we've got the business problems and the business challenges that we need to solve. So generally, we're looking at it in that space of what are the heavily manual things that we do? How can we use the technology to take away some of that really manual effort, the boring stuff, as we call it within the team sometimes, to really help us focus on the activities which are the value add. So on to the examples. So we focused on some of our biggest areas where we are always under pressure, and many of you will know that councils are under pressure in terms of the volume of demand that's increased since the pandemic and the issues and challenges that's caused, and then funding challenges. In real terms, funding has gone down over the last 15, 20 years quite significantly, but the demand is going up. So we have to do something. How can we help ourselves to be able to meet the challenges and demand and help the people who really need our help? Social care goes to those that really need it, and it is a challenge for us. So what do? We looked at some of the highly manual processes. You can see there, a best interest assessment, a social care assessment, takes a day to complete. You've got another 5 hours to write that up. And then you've got to chase people for their input, and then you've got to check. It takes a while. So we use Copilot. And you can see from the slide, 1 minute to write up that transcript. And then you've got 15 minutes to check. See, the thing is, when we said there has to be a person in the process, we were really serious. You cannot delegate the responsibility to Copilot or any other AI technology for what you need to do, but it can help you. It is a shortcut to your destination, not a bypass of it. So what you see in each of those examples up there, where we are saving time on the write-up to actually spend on more meaningful activity, to either be more efficient, so we can get through more of those assessments, more of those meetings, or to add value in the context of how we are conducting those meetings. So you can see from those quotes what people felt about the experience of utilising AI and Copilot specifically, but also Teams Premium as we're going on to utilise Teams Premium as that's come to the fore in our workplace. I can have a better quality meeting. I can focus on the conversation I'm having. And actually, we also found that people were saying, actually, it was a little bit more accurate. There are bits in there that I'd forgotten that then I read the notes back and it reminded me. But it is not always 100% accurate, we know, so you have to do the check. You as the person have to own the output and the content. That's a really important part of the process. The other important thing, I think, and it's been touched on already, is that you need to learn how to utilize AI. And so we look at it, and we've got some people in our workforce who are probably still in that place where, oh, machines are taking over. This is risky. I don't know. I'm not confident with technology. So why would I be confident with this? But that's about the right support, because the tech doesn't do it by itself. We have to help them understand, and they have to help us understand what's a good use case for this. How do we help people understand how to utilize the technology appropriately? Because we must do that as a public sector organization. But we can see that last quote, I'm a convert. With the right support, more or less, anybody can learn how to use this technology in a way that benefits them in their working lives. So a different kind of example here. So this is one where we were thinking about, well, how do we utilize the technology to solve one of our business problems? One of the things that we have as a problem within social care is that by the time someone gets in touch with us, if they've had a fall, we know they'll have an escalating level of need. So that's our language, our polite language for saying, if you fall and you are frail or fragile, your outcomes deteriorate. Your likelihood of staying in your own home, being socially active, being confident start to decrease. That's just the facts. That's just the stats tell us that. And we don't want that. And the residents and people in Norfolk don't want that for themselves. So how do we know who is going to be at risk of something like a fall? So we used our data and data from district councils to say, right, let's identify the factors. Let's look at this. Let's use the AI to analyse, to find out, to create an algorithm that then helps us to identify people at a potential risk of a fall. Because that way we can work with those individuals to help them to avoid that risk and to mitigate that risk. And so longer term, that's better for people, for individuals and their families, and it's better for us because there's less need on the services. So it's a win-win situation for us. So this is not a real person. This is an example of the type of scenario we ended up with. We have Sarah, and she has been identified as one of those individuals that has those risk factors, that is actually at risk of falling. Now, we tested this. We didn't just go out there and do it. We tested it. So we had a small pilot group we tested with. And what we found is when we approached people, they thought it might be a scam. they thought this might not be real. So what we found through the pilot and through doing that test and learn process, which is really important when you're doing something new for the first time, is we sent a letter. So when the call came, the person, Sarah, was expecting that call. And then we went through that process of that conversation, identifying what might support her. That's where you can further use the AI, or you can use a practitioner. There's options around how you do this, to then put some support in place to mitigate that risk. And then we track and monitor the outcomes. So this is a bit behind the scenes for those that are more technical than I am. So the type of technology we're using here is natural language processing. We're looking through case notes, and you can see there's entries there that for one person, there could be 49 entries in the case notes. How are we going to get through all of those for all of the people who we're not actively working with? We're not. And we've got 106,000 residents who have got notes and entries for, and there's 900,000 residents in Norfolk. So you can tell with the technology, with AI, we can do more than we could do without it, and quicker. And you can see a little bit there of the background process in terms of the logic behind it. But what's really important about this? The really important thing is actually the people. This is about what happens for the people themselves. So at this point, we're going to play the video and let them speak for themselves.
The information we both received was ample. It explained the different circumstances about the programme, which we found extremely helpful. And we didn't realise the help that was there for us.
I put it all in the file, all the information that you sent us. And we know that there's a point where we can contact somebody who can either offer help or point us in the right direction.
I did put a little handle up the stairs, which was entirely inaccurate, because I knew when I get to the top of the stairs, I was going to tumble backwards. And it wasn't until Neil, the young man, came and showed me the grab rails, and I thought, my goodness me, why didn't I think of that? But you don't, and this is where the help comes from you to us. And my goodness me, it's made a big difference, isn't it? Because I think in a way you can just sit here and think, oh, this will go away, or oh no, I'll contact you tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes, and then you think, oh, I can't be bothered, I don't seem to be doing all right. And then tomorrow comes, no, I won't bother you. But that's the wrong way to look at it. And the help came from, of course, what you sent me in the mail, and also coming to see us. And this put everything at rest. And then it gets into your mind, say, there is somebody out there that is willing to help.
And I think that for me is really what I wanted to tell you about, was it's about the people. It's about what we do with the technology, how it helps us in the context of the services we provide, whether they're our services as a council or yours in terms of the business. It's all about the people being at the heart of it, the outcomes we're trying to achieve. And you listen to Lawrence, does he mention AI? Does he? No. Because for him and his wife, it's about the information we provided. It's about that grab rail that actually is going to help prevent an accident and Lawrence ending up in hospital. It's about the people at the heart of that process. And ultimately, what does he say? Actually, now we realise there's someone out there who can help. So the AI has helped us make a connection. It's helped us prevent a person getting injured. That's actually, for me, what's really important about the technology, how we use it, what we do with it, what it helps us do in the context of our working lives and the lives of others. Thank you.
Thank you.